Hello writers, it's KR on day 12. Today's goal is 20,000 words and I have 20,119. So I actually haven't written any since last evening, but I plan to get another couple thousand words before I go to bed tonight. So one of the things that I've just run into, and so I'm going to talk a bit about it, is when to use your cool ideas and when to discard them. Because I came up with a pretty cool idea as my original plan had been to move my character from point A to point B, and then I came up with the idea, oh well, it would be a lot more exciting if instead of going when she planned, if she left early. And so that introduced a halfway point between A and B. And while in that point, I created several scenarios, and one of which had a lot of implications. And I thought it was a very cool scene. I still think it's a very cool scene. I shared it with a friend, and she thought it was a very cool scene. But the problem with it is that it has certain, I guess there would be certain things that would happen because of that scene that would completely derail the story. Maybe not completely, but this is the thing that you run into when you're writing a story that's set in a realistic world. It's obviously it's a supernatural story, so there are unrealistic elements, but it's still the real world. And so things like laws and police and, most of the time, physics, things like that. But most human interactions are normal the way that they are in the normal world. And so you try to make characters that are realistic and that respond in realistic ways. So what happens if you put characters into a situation where you say, I know that there would be, if this happened in real life, I know that certain things would happen. And I'm not, in this particular instance, I know two things that would happen and one thing that might happen. And I've decided I don't want to spend a lot of time going through researching the topic and finding out what would be the realistic thing that would happen in this scenario. And not only do I not want to spend a lot of time on it, I don't want to make all my Google searches, then the NSA is looking at me and say, oh, well, he was looking at guns and suicide and all this stuff, and then they come down on me. So I'm just going to skip that topic for right now. And I've decided to take that idea and shelve it for now. And I've already written it, so I have to go in and make a couple changes. So that's the question for today. When do you have a really great idea, and when should you take that and set it aside for the sake of being able to continue the story towards the point that you originally thought? And obviously the question that you have to answer is the new story that's been developed by this scenario a better story than the old one? And in this case, I don't think it is. So I'm going to go ahead and change that scene, change a couple details in that scene to sidestep those necessary, conclusions that would come out of those actions. So that's what I have for today, day 12. 2 people so far have voted in the poll. Make sure that you vote on salonauteur.wordpress.com. It's linked in the show notes. Make sure that you vote to say which chapter excerpt you would like to see on the blog. So get out there and vote. There's 2 more days, and then the excerpt will be up. And if you didn't, then, you lose out. All right. See you tomorrow.